Right, so this is a short presentation. It won't be going into any kind of depth at all because it's a lightning talk, but it's kind of an experience report of how to work with libpython-clj. So starting off, meet Rascal. He is a good boy. Well, mostly a good boy. But he can be a little bit lazy. Actually, he's been gaining weight. And so, from doctor's orders, he has to be on a restricted diet. Breakfast, he gets kibble and green beans. He wants a lot more. I could only take this photo immediately after having fed him because otherwise he would have gone crazy knowing that there was more food around. But there's more food in the kitchen right there. Next, meet Ziggy. Ziggy owns that food, but he doesn't always finish it, at least not immediately. He'll come in and have some and he leaves. He's actually a little underweight. We can't put the food up any higher. He just has to have it where it is. But it's in the kitchen. Rascal knows he's not allowed in the kitchen, and he generally stays out unless there's no other people around. But all the same, Ziggy doesn't finish all of that food, but Rascal does. Now, there are options for trying to make sure that Ziggy only gets his food and Rascal doesn't get any of it. I could get an RFID smart feeder for $150. But floating around the house, I've got a couple of Raspberry Pis, and it turns out that you can get a camera for just over $15. Well, with the camera, what can I do there? There's a whole lot of solutions on Raspberry Pi for processing video. A nice one is motion. This will detect movement in the image coming from a camera. It'll take a snapshot and it'll upload it for you. So if I'm uploading an image, what can I do with it? I could try to use image recognition to identify, has Rascal come into the room? The problem is image recognition libraries don't, especially with something specialized like this. Looking down on a dog over a bowl, it doesn't work very effectively. But you can build specialized image detectors. In fact, I have. I'm doing classes at university where these are some of the images I was having to process, looking for things like pneumonia, emphysema, and various things like this, and trying to identify this with neural networks. But building all of these things was done in Python. I'm actually not a fan of Python. I know some other Clojure developers who say that of the non-Clojure languages, Python is one of their favorites. It's not mine. It feels clunky to me. Of course, there's a lot of libraries rely on state change, and the entire ecosystem for managing libraries I find very difficult after coming from the Clojure ecosystem. So I looked into using libpython-clj so that I could leverage what I'd already done. This has been written by Chris Nuernberger, and it's been around now for a couple of years. I heard about it first on the Cognicast. If we look at Python itself, we see that they've got their own package management system, and there's a few different approaches. You can do virtual environments. You can do Conda. If you create a virtual environment that you start populating with pip, then it starts with those 5 directories at the top level, but it goes down from there. And there's some symlinks in there, but every single project you have is going to have one of these VN directories in them, and it takes up a lot of space. You're copying in the same things over and over again. I find this very frustrating. If you go with Conda, where you've got a more centralized environment, it's a lot bigger, and for a single environment for a machine learning project that I have. The subdirectories there all total to 2.6 gig. This can get expensive in your system, and every single project needs a different selection of Python libraries, different versions of Python. A lot of things don't work against one another. I find this really frustrating to work with, but it's the best that we have to work with for the moment. So if you're going to start up the Python CLJ, then the first thing it needs to do is find that environment. Now, it is set up to automatically look for a VM environment. You can also configure it manually with a python.edn file, and the documentation explains what that looks like. But I had a few projects going, and I wanted to be able to find what is my active Conda project right now. And it turns out if you try to do that at runtime, it starts getting a little bit hairy. But once you've got your initialization going, you can start using this system, and it is really quite nice to work with. So we'll start with a standard require, libpython-clj2, and here I'm just referring to a number of the really common functions and macros that we want to use in there. And you'll notice that I'm saying call this first, that py initialize. If I do anything after that, this is where it's going to start loading libraries out of your system. And if you haven't pre-initialized at this point, then it's going to go off and pull it out of the global Python environment, which is almost certainly not carrying things that you need right now. So you initialize, and then you pull in the various things that you'll need. So you'll see that I've pulled in one more function, require Python. Using that, I can now start pulling in things from Python itself. I start with built-ins here, for instance, as Python, and then we can say I want to bind that namespace. So I can say Python/something, and I have access to things in the Python namespace. And built-ins are important because it turns out that a lot of Python APIs need access to data structures that are a part of Python, like tuples or Python lists, where a Python list is a lot like Clojure's vectors. We don't have syntactic access to that with square brackets or anything like this. So we want to instantiate a tuple or instantiate a list using appropriate functions. So here I've just defined them to call into Python appropriately. Then I can convert, starting with this structure, which is a model for the medical images that I was looking at earlier. I can take almost exactly that code and switch it to a Clojure syntax. And you'll see that, of course, we can get rid of the commas. The named arguments turn into map style arguments. So for instance, on that third line there, input has a shape argument, which is a tuple, 720 by 720 by 1. Previously in Python, that was shape equals, and then we set up a tuple in round parentheses. It's a relatively once you've set things up, it's a relatively straightforward set of composition to duplicate what you had been doing in Python now in Clojure. So then following these patterns, we can start converting more things. So I was doing a model.compile using the Atom optimizer, categorical cross entropy as my loss function. Metrics are being measured using categorical accuracy. All of these things show up in Clojure with a relatively simple transform. I'm going from model.fit to calling py on model with the fit operation. To detect whether or not there's a dog in the kitchen, I don't need to know one of a dozen different diseases. Instead, I just need a binary. Is it a dog or not a dog? If anyone saw Silicon Valley, there was a joke around hot dog or not hot dog. So now the output is going to be a single output. That's the first argument indents there, activation sigmoid. And when we compile, we go to cross entropy and binary accuracy. Time's up. Okay. So right at the end, that last 2% of the project, of course, takes 98% of the time, got to go through it all. I'm accumulating a lot of photos. I've got to train on them. I want to test. I'm going to tweak the layers to make sure that it works better. I've got to tweak those parameters and then repeat. And this is a standard neural network approach to any of these things. Got a UI, UX, I'll be working away, and then all of a sudden, I get told that someone's in the kitchen when he's not supposed to be. Project outcome. Python was always orchestrating things which are occurring in CUDA and C++. Python doesn't do a lot of the work itself, but the libraries are all wrapped in Python libraries. As JVM starts to increase in capability, which it is doing, we can start shifting across. And of course, I have a very frustrated dog who doesn't get the food that he thinks he deserves.